Hi, everyone. I am Kris Blackmon, Chief Channel Officer over at industry consultancy JS Group, and I'm here today on behalf of channelWise. channelWise provides on-demand expert advice for the channel. We know the channel, we know the challenges, we've been there and done that. We are founders and experts dedicated to helping vendors and partners go further, faster. Today, I am joined by Debra Eckerling, who I'm just getting to know. I'm really excited about this conversation. Debra is a goals strategist specializing in event outcome and optimization, which we know is huge within the channel, considering how many events we go to every year, right? Debra helps individuals and businesses come away from events with the resources, the skills, the relationships they need to better their business, to further their organization. She is the award-winning author of Your Goal Guide, and she's the creator of the D.E.B method. She has spoken on stages for TEDx, Agora Pulse, Von 3. She's the host of the Goal Chat Twitter chat, the Goal Chat live show, and the D.E.B Show podcast. So welcome, Debra. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk events and goals, my favorite topics.
Well, we're excited to have this conversation too. But before we dive into that, I wanted to give you a chance to tell us a little bit about yourself, because I know that you're not involved only in the channel, right? So you've got expertise that we definitely want to hear, but you're not necessarily somebody that the channel is super familiar with yet. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got here? What were the gaps that you were seeing that you thought that you could fill, and that caused you to kind of come up with this concept?
Well, and I love the question. And I've been helping people with goal setting and goal getting for years. I started out doing events at Barnes & Noble years ago, back when I lived in Chicago, and I've lived in LA for over 20 years. So do as much math as you want. But I started this group to help people. Somebody asked if I'd start a writer support group. And for me, that meant, what are you working on? What can we celebrate? How can we support you? And what are you working on for next time? And who knew that that would start me on this path? And I moved to LA, restarted the group, and over the years it's evolved. So it's not just for writers, but it's writers, creatives, and entrepreneurs. My business background is project management and communication, so everything really kind of merged together really nicely. And then people were saying, Deb, you're good at this. Can I hire you? I can't get my book finished, or I need to know what's next, or Deb, you're good at this. Will you speak at my event? So it's been a really nice, natural evolution. And then in 2018, when my main communications client was going away, and I'm like, okay, this is a sign to fully jump into what I was meant to do, which is help people figure out what they want and how to get it. So I rebranded as the D.E.B method. Is determine your mission, explore your options, brainstorm your path. So all about the foundations, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about, but you can't get what you want unless you know what that is. So I'm really big on that foundation piece. And then over the last year, with so many events now that in-person is back, along with the flood of online that came during the pandemic, you can literally spend all day, every day, going to events and like not sleep.
Hit them all.
Exactly. But the challenge is people spend so much time and energy on these events and they come away with nothing. And that is not okay. And D.E.B, fortunately, works really well with event strategy as well. So that's why I'm like on my soapbox. You can go to an event, you can leave with leads, and you can leave with information. It doesn't have to be a black hole of fun. Not that black holes of fun aren't fun, but you know what I mean.
Well, like I said, the channel is huge with events, and I do see, I saw it a lot during the pandemic with the virtual events. People weren't really sure how to work those, right? So at the in-person events, you're a vendor, you buy a booth, you put out some cool swag, people come by and you scan their badge and you have a lead. That wasn't necessarily the way it worked with virtual events. So I did see vendors kind of struggling there, and it feels like they kind of brought these struggles back into in-person events. Like, event attendees are looking for a different sort of engagement now. So let's tackle it foundationally. Why is it important? And this seems like such a simple question, but why is it important to set actual goals for your event attendance and participation, rather than just kind of roll out a template for every single event. We go, we get a booth, we scan badges, we follow up with an email drip campaign. Why is it important to set, specific goals for each event rather than just kind of go on gut and feel and traditional methods?
Well, and there's nothing wrong with gut and feel. We need that, right? But you can't get what you want unless you know what you want. I've said it before. I will probably say it again before this conversation is over. When you go to an event, whether it's in person or virtual, and whether you're a participant or a vendor, there's got to be the reason behind it. And the reason behind it is really important for the alignment of your business. So let's just take a step or two back. Think about the goals for your business. What is it that you do? How do you help? And what is it, the thing that you offer makes you unique? So in your business, you want to help others. When you go to events, yes, you want to help others, but you also want to help yourself in your business. So you have to start with that why and make sure that it's in alignment with your business goals. And especially from an attendee perspective, you can't meet everybody. You can't go to all of the sessions. But what you can do is make your list of your ideal clients or your ideal connections. Maybe you're going to an event because you want more breadth for your business. And that's true of attendees and vendors. Who do you need to meet that's going to elevate that? And it can be specific people if you know they're going to attend, or they can just be types, avatars. Okay, who do I want to meet? Who do I need to meet? And who would be nice to meet? So when you prioritize, it's going to help you really laser target everything. And the same thing with the education piece. You can't go to all the sessions, even if they're back to back and there's no conflict, which, let's face it, that never happens. There's always congruent sessions. However, if you target what you need to get out of the event to benefit your business and go very specifically to certain sessions, then, oh my goodness, you're going to learn stuff that's going to be valuable. Okay, cool. So you set goals so you actually end with the result that you want. I guess that's the short answer.
So you mentioned you kind of take a programmatic, process-based approach to these strategies. It sounds like what you just said would be the first step in this goal setting, goal getting process. Is that right? Or am I totally off base?
Oh no, I totally merged everything together. Had you not noticed? I love what I do and I get really, really excited about it.
Oh, that's great. So walk us a little bit through what that process is. I mean, I know we are not going to have the time or the bandwidth right now to go through everything in detail, but just kind of from like the 30,000-foot view. So you start with identifying your goals. What do you want to get out of the event? And then what next?
Then you explore your options and then you brainstorm your path. So let's go back a little bit to that first step. And it sounds very California when I say this, so bear with me. You want to start with visualizing. When you're going to an event, again, as a vendor, participant, business, whether you're speaking or just going to, get the goodness that it has to offer, start with that visualization. What is your ideal outcome? And then you work backwards. And you could have a couple, but you need to prioritize. So start with, what is the best thing that can come out of this? And then maybe 2, 3, 4 things down the line. But you start with that visualization and that mission. So when you go into the event, you make sure that all the decisions that you are making is in alignment with that. So I talk about this for goal setting simplified, as well as goal strategy for events. Start with that mission statement. And you all have a mission for that business. And then what is that motto, that tagline? And what I'm saying is also do that for the event.
Okay.
What is your mission? What is like the best thing that could happen to get out of this? And then what motto, what fun, snappy, like 3 to 5 word phrase are you going to own to really encapsulate everything? And it could be get new clients. I mean, it's not very snappy, but it's direct. could be meet the media. It could be find partnership. So whatever reason, the main reason that you're going to the event, that is the motto that you want to set. And then as you explore your options, you're looking at all the networking opportunities, all of the session opportunities, see which of these are most in alignment with that motto. And that will help you decide what, where, how you need to spend your time.
Spend your energy. Yeah.
Mhm. Exactly. So you've got that, and then you make your list. And then even after you make your list, scratch a couple things off of it, because you don't want to go to sessions back to back. Maybe you are in the vendor area in the expo the entire time. Great, wonderful use of time. What sorts of things can you do to really elevate your business that's going to attract the people that you want to meet? So let's say you're looking for partnership. What information can you put out there that shows that you're a good partner?
Okay.
Like, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. And then on
mhm.
the attendee side of things, I want to learn about security or whatever the case may be. That way it helps you kind of hone in on where you spend your energy. Again, who you connect with, the sessions you go to, the events you go to.
Exactly. And then the other big secret, which isn't a secret at all, is there's always another event. So don't feel bad that you're missing out. Feel proud that you're actually going to leave this event with really good relationships that you can develop, and really good information that you can take back to your business and use to elevate, grow.
So that's something that I did want to ask you about. So I see this on both sides, on both the attendee side, the partner side, as well as the vendor side, the exhibitor side. What they do after the event matters just as much, if not more, than what they do at the event. So on the partner side, we see people going to these education sessions, for example, and they get all hyped up and excited about a topic that they're learning about and excited about implementing it in their business. And then they go home and they get so busy with the day to day that that excitement and that plan is just kind of put on the back shelf and they never act on it. And then on the vendor side, I see a lot of people getting a ton of leads, but then not necessarily knowing how to follow up on those leads. So after you set your goals for the event, how do you expand that into what you do after the event to make sure that you're getting the most out of your investment?
Well, the first thing you need to do is set appointments to actually act on these new relationships and this new information. And maybe that's 2 1-hour appointments a week where that's just dedicated time where you dive into that relationship development and you dive into that information gathering action items, make your business better segment. I'm sure I could have said that more fluently, but you get the point. And also the other thing is, and let's take this one at a time. So for the people that you meet, the new relationships, I love LinkedIn. We're going to backtrack before you go to any event. Make sure your LinkedIn is reflective of who you are and your business. Make sure your picture looks like you, have a nice branded background image, and then your headline, what you do, how you help, et cetera, et cetera. So you want that to be nice. I don't want to say pretty because that sounds wrong, but you want a nice, effective, professional LinkedIn presence, because let's face it, you're going to look up the people you meet and they're going to look you up. So you want to be a reflection of your best self. So one thing beforehand, check your LinkedIn. Obviously, your website's going to look good and your other social profiles. And then maybe even write some templates of great meeting you at the X session at X conference, or thank you for stopping by the booth. I enjoyed our conversation. Let's connect on LinkedIn. So 3 or 4 versions of that template. So when you meet these like A-list definite people you want to stay in touch with, you send that connection request right away and you stay top of mind. And if you're busy and you have to do it the day after, that's fine as well. But set an appointment the day after or even the evening after to go through all the new contacts you made and divide them out. Who is A-list that you want to like really excited about. You felt that connection. And then B list is, okay, these are good people to know. I can reach out tomorrow, the next day. And then the others are the people that are good to me. You're not quite sure how it's going to evolve, but you want to stay in touch with. So prioritize so you get to your top tiers first and foremost, and you don't let it slide away. So make those notes, and you can even do it as you meet them. The other part, the education part, after each session, just like use your highlighter and highlight the things that are most important, and maybe write down 3 takeaways and 3 action items from each session, and keep that information. Don't spend the entire time, into your, I don't know if you can see I'm like mimicking, but don't spend the entire time with your head down into your notes. Take the key points and then highlight them and create action items on the spot or the evening afterwards. So you don't have to go through your notes. I mean, how many of us have notebooks from events from like months and years ago?
Dozens.
Right? Okay, here's the secret. You're never going to look at them again. So
Oh, that's not a secret. Not in my office.
but what is the different pet peeve? If they're replay sessions, okay, but schedule times to watch the replay sessions. Don't just let everything just sort of hang in the universe and say, oh, this was great, I'll get to it someday. No, commit to yourself. You've already put that time, money, and energy. So you want that commitment to move forward. And again, maybe it's an hour a week. If you've got more, great, take it. But if it's only an hour to go through the notes and put things into action, I guarantee it's more than most people are doing.
Yeah, I agree. And I love this. I'm actually hosting a session next week in an event, and I'm going to tell them, write down your top 3 takeaways from this session and act on them when you get home.
Yes, writing them down is not enough. You actually have to do the
Yeah. Well, Debra, thank you so much for joining us today. I am excited to take this information that I've talked to you about today and put it into effect for my 2023 event strategy that I'm just starting to put together. So it's a good time to have this conversation. We appreciate you being here.
Well, I so love speaking with you, and I'm excited because, like I said, I love events and I love goals. So these really go hand in hand. So whether I'm speaking at an event or working with a business that's like doing the prep to go, it gets me so happy to like give that encouragement, because there's so much gold there and people are leaving it on the table. So turn all that time and energy into a wealth of clients and ways to elevate your business, and it's win-win for everybody.
I could not agree more. If you guys want to hear more about how to get the most out of events and your strategy and how you should set goals and follow up on goals, then head on over to Debra's profile at channelWise.com. The link will be put down in the post below. And if you're interested in just learning more about channelWise, just reach out to us via the website. We are always happy to have a chat. On behalf of myself and Debra and channelWise, I hope all of you have a great rest of your day.